That's a very good question. Who am I discovering? I have such a vast storage of music inside of me from growing up where I did. I'm discovering these new cats, because I come from the lineage as well as you do, and a lot of the older listeners who are my friends and that. We grew up on the music of the 40s and the 50s and doo-wop, and moved it into the 60s, and from Woodstock to the disco to funk era, Earth, Wind and Fire, Jimi Hendrix, Deep Purple, it goes on and on, Led Zeppelin. I've mined that completely. But now I'm looking at the young cats like the Robert Glaspers and these musicians who are coupling that music that we grew up on with what's happening now, which is hip hop, which I'm so enamored, not with the sound of hip hop, I'm enamored with the attitude that these young warriors, these young lions are bringing to the table. Because they're taking that attitude that the street has to that music and they're combining it with the knowledge and the intellect of what we grew up on. I don't know if that's the right word to say, intellect, And they're creating a musical genre that is so outside of the box of what I grew up on, and it's working. The late 80s and 90s, when the Sugar Hill Gang and all that stuff was in vogue, I looked down upon it as most of my jazz peers did, because it wasn't schooled. All you had to do was just have a certain attitude and dress a certain way in the 80s and the 90s. Right, hip hop. It wasn't that adult nursery rhyme stuff. My fault. But these young lions who are coming out of the schools, Berkeley, Northwest, and they're coming out of schools who are schooled, they grew up on that as well as the music that you and I grew up on, and they're learning. And they're going back and taking this hip hop music and combining with the standards and the jazz that we know. When you hear someone do something from Miles or something from Kanye West and make it work, you have to stand up. So I'm basically, in the past couple of years, have been paying attention. And in keeping in that note, I've hired these younger guys who are bringing that to my table. It's wonderful. It's changing my outlook and attitude about this music. I'm more or less keep my nose turned down now instead of turned up. I'm trying to break through that membrane, because I grew up with a people that believe that the only way that you can study, memorize, do your ABCs, every good boy is fine, is to confine yourself to a place where you can get into yourself, memorize, and learn the structure of what's been put before you. And then after you've mastered that, then you somehow find your own voice. That's the way we were growing up on, and it's worked to some extent. But the new guard is different. The new guard understands, because of texting, because of iPhones and the internet and that, there's a certain muscle that they exercise in their head that is incredibly fast, faster than mine. I grew up on imagination. When I was a child, the mantra from our parents, and that was, go to your room, read a book, and when you finish reading that book, come out of the room and I will school you on it and test you on it. That's how we were growing, which is fine. The new guard believes in, not only will I go to my room and read a book and test my mettle, you're gonna come with me. And together we're gonna discover something inside this book. And I noticed that their ability to assimilate things and move things is much more faster than my generation, much more faster. Sometimes I'm envious of it, because I see them on their iPhones texting, I see how they create music, and I see how they are able to lay down things in my show and rehearsal, whatever, that is far more rapid than I have. Maybe it's because of YouTube, they've had the benefit of not having a record player listening to things, Whatever it is, I'm gleaning from that. So I'm changing my whole attitude about how to study, how to create. Usually I would go to a place in my mind, a cabin in the sky, and sit and formulate something and bring it to the band. But the new guard, the children of today, believe that in order to create something, I must include you in it. And together we'll find a voice. It's really wonderful how I see how they're doing it, and it works. It really works, and I'm learning from that. Hi, I'm Allan Harris, and for more videos, go to jazztimes.com.